Thanks for checking out this movie review video. So this is for the 1986 film Demons 2, which I promised I would do after doing Demons 1. Probably not doing Demons 3 at this point, the Ogre, but we'll see. Maybe. Diminishing returns on this, in my opinion. It's still fun. And like I did with the first film, I'm definitely going to be rating it two ways, as just like a film in general, and as a so bad it's good film, because I think we can probably all agree this and the first one are so bad they're good films, because there's not a whole lot of story there. It's just kind of zany and wacky and over the top, but it is a lot of fun. And look at this. Look at the cover. It's a pretty cool cover. We got the demon kid right there, which I love. We got one of the most iconic moments, which is the face coming through the TV there. That's pretty nice. So anyway, let me put that aside. Let's get into Demons 2. Directed by Lamberto Bava, who obviously did the first one. He's been known for films such as Macabre, A Blade in the Dark, Devilfish, You'll Die at Midnight, Body Puzzle, The Mask of Satan, The Original Demons, and Demons 3, The Ogre. Written by Bava as well as Dario Argento. This was right after Demons and before Argento did Opera. And then Franco Ferrini was also involved in the script, and he's written scripts for Red Rings of Fear, Phenomena, Argento film, The Original Demons, Sweets from a Stranger, Opera with Argento, Two Evil Eyes with Argento, Trauma with Argento, The Stendhal Syndrome with Argento, Sleepless, The Card Player, also Argento, Eyes of Crystal, Do You Like Hitchcock, and the new Argento film coming out, Black Glasses, which I have not watched the trailer. I'm going to go into it blind when it's eventually available. Originally, the baby inside of Hannah at the very end of the film was supposed to become a demon and tear its way out. But Bob and Argento actually decided that they wanted a happier ending. I'm assuming that's just because the first film was a very downer of an ending with the female lead dying at the very end. So I think they were like, let's give it a change of pace. Let's give people a little bit of a reprieve because we just piled so much terrible on in the first film and in this film. So, I personally would have liked it if it was a more of a downer ending to the film, because I just find that to be kind of more fun. Plus the idea of the baby turning into a demon within Hannah's stomach and just like clawing its way out sounds like it would be a really cool practical effects sequence. Just saying, although there already are, a decent amount of those in the film. The demon resurrection was done by melting a wax head and then running the film in reverse. Now, this is something that's actually been done before as well. Hellraiser did it with the reconstruction of Frank's body, which is amazing. Like, I love that scene in general. This scene is still good, but, it pales in comparison to the scene of Frank's body in Hellraiser. This is Asia Argento's film debut. Obviously, she went on to work with her father and other people a decent amount after that. And the iconic moment of the demon coming through the television was actually done with a latex screen that they put on there. They projected a film onto it, and then they had an actor with a mask push their face through the back of it, and that's why it looked the way it did. Obviously, looked good, was cool, but once again, I'm going to compare to another film and say I prefer it done better in this film, Videodrome by David Cronenberg, which I should review that one at some point. So the music in the film picks up where we left off with the first one. It sounds kind of similar in the way it's constructed. It's also very fun and upbeat like in the first film. You also have some recognizable names like in the first film. Me personally, I liked most the fact that they had a song by the Smiths. I love the Smiths, so I was very, very excited when they had that playing during the party sequence at, what is her name? I have it written down, Sally's birthday party. Kind of a funny trick with the cherry syrup in the beginning of the film on the kitchen knife, because it actually makes you think that you're stepping into things that are out of control already, that there's already carnage going on, that we're already dealing with the demon situation. But then it's this funny trick with kind of a wink at the audience like, oh, no. Someone's baking a cake for Sally's birthday, and it's just some cherry syrup that had dripped onto a kitchen knife. So I like that kind of misdirect. It's kind of like a funny false start to the film. And then we end up finding out that actually what's going on is that the whole demon situation that happened in the first film, it's been years since that actually happened. There are people who still are kind of even questioning whether that really happened or not. But obviously we then have some people who are going to check it out and see what went down and all that in a film. So they do the same thing they did in the first film, where people are watching something on, in that case, the big screen, and then it starts, mirroring in real life with the demons. Now, in this case, it's people in an apartment complex watching a program about the whole demon situation on their television, and then it comes into the real life. So similar but different, and changing a little bit more with the times. They're obviously setting up for elevator issues later in the film because they show people experiencing these elevator issues very early on. Obviously, with a lot of things, like when they make a big point about showing something odd like that, it's because it's coming up later in the film. They wouldn't show people struggling so much to get the elevator to work and people commenting on how it's been having issues if they weren't going to trap people in it later, or at least just have it basically out of order so people had to use the stairs and there was like one path that was just super dangerous. So, just saying. You gotta love how the pimp from the first one is a gym instructor in this, and the head punk from the first one is a security guard. Now, the security guard role obviously didn't get a whole lot of screen time, unfortunately, but the pimp one, who's now the gym instructor, did, which his job as the gym instructor, like the way he does it is funny to me. Like he wasn't really helping anyone. I guess he's just there for like motivational purposes. He's just like yelling at people like, come on, you can do better. Come on, you can lift more. Come on, come on. And then telling everyone to like close up and go hit the showers, basically. Like, he just hangs out, in essence. He wasn't actually like showing anyone how to do anything really, or helping all that much. He's just yelling for motivation. It's fun how they have the TV program on the demon outbreak from the first film. It lets you know people are aware of it, and it's considered over for that time period. People are kind of being like, some people are kind of like, oh yeah, that was crazy. Some people are like, who knows if it even happened. But it's good to kind of like bring in the events from the first film into the second one and give you the context under which the second film is happening in relation to the events of the first one. So I think they did a good job with that. I'm happy with that aspect of it. In this film, you have life imitating a TV program like the film in the first one. Yeah, I kind of already talked about that. The kid answering the phone and saying he's alone is to make him seem even more in peril for when things go down later, which obviously he ends up in so much peril that he ends up getting the demon blood on him, and he himself turns into a demon, which I don't think people would have seen coming, because a lot of the times with film, and even back then, people were very reluctant to do things like that to kids, because it seemed like particularly shocking to people. They're like, oh no, kids, they're so innocent. Don't do it to them. But adults, go for it, because they have been very sinful and they're terrible people and they do terrible things potentially. So yeah, I like that twist. But note that he answers the phone. It's very weird. Like, he just like answers the phone and he's just like, oh no, my parents aren't here. Like, it's just so quick, and it's just to let you know that his parents aren't around. So when the demon stuff goes down, he's in particular danger. And, it works for that. Sally has some issues that she needs to work on and not take out on other people. Trying to shut down her own party because the one guy who answered the phone told Jacob that he can come over. Very rash. She's super irrational. She's just like having a good time at her party, enjoying it with these people, and then finds out, oh no, someone invited Jacob. And then her demeanor just totally changes. So it's not like, the characters are not well written. I already said that I'm rating this on 2 levels. It is a so bad it's good film, in my opinion. And what's great about it are all the practical effects and the craziness and the music. It's not about the writing. It's not about the characters or anything like that. And it's seen very well in Sally because of how like ridiculous she is as a character. And that situation doesn't even make sense. They just kind of wanted a reason to seclude her in her room, because that's what happens next. And then she's watching the thing on TV, and then that's when she ends up getting turned into a demon. And then she makes people want to leave after that by trying to kill him as a demon. They introduced something new about the demons, that blood can bring them back to life. There was something else that they introduced that was kind of new. Oh, the acidic blood aspect of the demons having like acid blood a la Alien, which I think, I don't know if they took inspiration from that or not, but But it doesn't seem to be consistent, though, either. It's like some demons happen to have acidic blood, just kind of like when they felt like making it like that. Because, like, when it drips on the kid when he's hiding in the closet, it doesn't burn him at all. It's not acidic at that point. But we're seeing early on it's going through floors. So, I don't know. It's weird. The demon coming through the TV is fun. Obviously, I already talked about that. I've never seen grown people so excited to light a birthday cake. That was one of those, like, so funny, like, ridiculous, stupid moments in the film where they were lighting the candles on Sally's birthday cake, and it's like people thought it was, like, the coolest thing ever. Like, everyone's just, like, huddled around, and people's like, oh, light it, let me see, let me do it. It's just like, are people that interested in that? It speaks to how, like, I was going to say stupid, how ridiculous the characters are, how they're written. They're weird. I like how when Sally turns to a demon and goes after her guests, they can't figure out how to use the door. Now, that was my initial thought, but I'm wondering in retrospect if it's a situation where they were trying to get out of the door, but they couldn't because some sort of, like, demon telekinesis was holding the door closed, because it kind of appeared that that's what happened to Sally when she was in her room. Like, initially she had locked herself in, and then she goes to leave when the demon's coming through the TV, but it seemed like she couldn't get out. So I guess, like, demons have telekinesis now where they can just, like, hold things closed with their mind. I don't know. That's what it seemed like. Another new thing about demons in that. So now the demon blood is acidic. I guess that's one way to get rid of the power in the phone. Yeah, the acidic demon blood really did seem like just a device of convenience to find a way to shut the power down in the building, to shut down the use of phones so people can't call for help. And then it feels like people truly are trapped in there. So it's fine, but it's weird. Another car full of punks in this film, but they're more mild and they're way less entertaining. I think we can all agree the car full of punks in the first film were way more interesting, way more odd, fun characters. These are more mild, but I will say that they mirrored the first film with the way they introduced them, and then just keep, like, randomly going back to them after long stints of time showing all the demon stuff. So it just seems like very disconnected. It wasn't, like, a great idea in the first film, and it's still not. It's even worse of an idea in the second film because the punk characters aren't that interesting. So I didn't really care for that aspect at all. The demon dog transformation is cool. I did like that. How, like, the dog's, like, muscular and skeletal structure starts, like, coming through the mouth of the dog, and then it has, like, these little green glowing eyes, like, on the muscles. It was very interesting. I like the way they did that, and yeah, that's the first instance of showing, like, something other than a human turning into a demon. So that was cool. I think they should have kept kind of, like, going on that line. Like, they could have done demon rats in the building or something like that. That would have been fun. And another similar backlit demons with glowing eyes running scene. Yeah, obviously the very iconic scene, which is the cover art for the first film, which I showed in my review. They just redid the same thing. It doesn't look as good, and the lighting was more white, where it was, like, nice and blue in the first film, but it's a callback, obviously, and people obviously point to that and be like, oh, just like in the first film. I did. I like that they try ramming a car into the parking garage door, that, like, big metal door that comes down and is blocking them so everyone's stuck in there. And why I say I like that they tried to ram it is because it shows that they're legitimately trying to get out. When in a lot of these types of films, people would just be like, oh, it's closed, better find another way out, and not even really try much to get out that way. So it's this little moment of writing where they're kind of making it a little bit more like a real life situation, because people would try everything they could to get out that way. When the kid is hiding from the Demon Sally, he has blood on him. Is it not acidic at this point? I know I asked that before, but it's very confusing to me then. Little do you know in that moment, like, you assume when they cut away that, like, the acidity, of the blood was eventually going to kick in and, like, melt the kid. But no, he ends up turning into a demon, which I guess maybe I should have assumed that based off the guy who was in that, like, iron lung thing or whatever it was when the blood starts dripping on him, and then you find out he's turned into a demon and he's just pulling down the tanning bed top on some lady. The demons leaping over the car that's on fire, I thought was a pretty funny looking thing. The way they're like just flying over the like flames, it just looks weird. It literally looks like they're being like shot out of a cannon, kind of. Watch that scene again. It's just really weird looking, and it's really funny to me. The addition of a demon kid is fun. I really do like the demon kid. And then obviously they take it even further, and they do something kind of similar to what they did in the first film, where a person is housing a smaller demon inside them. And in this case, a much smaller demon inside them, because it's the kid who ends up having the demon come out of them, which is a pretty cool scene. And the design of that little demon thing, the puppet of it, I thought looked fun enough. It reminded me a little bit of a gremlin from, obviously, Gremlins. But I think they kind of like, the context in which they shot it, I think was intentional to keep it relatively dark so you couldn't see like how weird and wonky it looked. Plus, it also makes it easier in that sense for the puppeteers to actually move it and not be detected on screen as actually, manipulating the thing. So, yeah. The flashing lights did get annoying, though. I will say that much. It also kind of hides if the demon itself doesn't look great. So, yeah. Good thing Hannah just had acid sitting in her apartment. Just like, she literally just has like a bottle of acid that when she like gets the demon stuck in the Murphy bed, which that was a cool use of a Murphy bed, it starts coming through the wall then, and then she just like, out of nowhere, like, grabs this bottle of acid and is just like, yeah. I'm like, good thing Hannah just had that sitting around. Or maybe it was George who had it in the apartment. I don't know. The apartment complex setting feels much bigger, but somehow it's less exciting than the movie theater in the first film. I don't know if other people feel that way. I guess maybe because it just doesn't feel as confined as the theater does. Like, the theater feels smaller, so the stakes feel... I don't want to say the stakes feel higher because they're the same, but it feels like there's less you can do and there's less places you can go to and less places you could try to escape from. I mean, at any point, did people think about going out of windows in this? Like, literally, they could have gone to an apartment and, like, gotten out of a window. I know it was, they were higher up, but still, like, in that situation, you might just jump. I mean, just like fashion a parachute out of someone's bed sheets, I feel like that's not too far-fetched for this film, let's be honest. I do like how Hannah and George find the studio and kind of become part of the actual TV program in the end of the film. That's a cool kind of like tie-in to the beginning of this and the tie-in to the first film. So that was pretty cool. It's like their story is becoming what would potentially be the story told in the third film. And I don't know what they do with that, if they do anything with it at this point, because I've never seen the third Demons. I might, but we'll see. Demon Sally just keeling over without an additional fight at the end, I think is just too much of a tease, in my opinion. I really think they should have gone there. They should have had that epic final fight between Hannah, George, and Demon Sally. I don't like how she just kind of like shows up as a potential danger, and then she just kind of is like, oh, now I die. It's just like, why? Like, what was that even for? Like, like I said, it's a tease. You think you're going to get something else, and you just don't. A much happier ending than the first one, and like I said, I'm not a fan of it. I wish they would have done something similar to the ending of the first one. I think that would have been a lot of fun. But, it is what it is. This movie is basically the same as the first movie. It's just a different location and a few slight additions / changes in things. I think it was a situation where they were like, well, the first one did really well. Let's just use the exact same premise, the exact same formula, the exact same story, and just do the same thing. Because obviously it's based on the craziness and the practical effects and the gore. Like, that's it. I mean, that's all it's about. And for that reason, like, that's why I'm going to rate it 2 ways. But it is fun. It's a fun time. So, out of 5 stars with half stars in play, as like an actual film, I'm going to give it 2 stars. I'm going to give it 2 stars as like an actual film. As a so bad it's good film, I'm going to give it 3. I'm going to go 3. I was going to go 3.5, but no, I think it's more 3. There's something about this that it's just not as exciting and not as fun as the first one. It still is fun and exciting, which is why I gave it 3 stars as it's so bad it's good, but it's just the first one seemed like it was so much better. And maybe that's part of the problem, is that I watched the first one and then I watched the second one and I'm just like, maybe it's an in comparison thing in my head. I don't know, but I don't know. Let me know your thoughts about Demons 2. Go ahead and put it in the comments. Let's talk about it. And do me a quick favor if you can, and you can, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. It costs you no money. It is quick and it is painless, and it literally is the best way to show your appreciation to me if you've liked any video I've ever done, because I put a lot of time and effort into these things, and at this point, I don't make money doing this. It's just a thing I'm doing because I want to talk nerdy about horror films. So, and I will say that I am very much humbled and impressed with the fact that people actually spend time to watch my videos. Like, that's a very humbling thing for me. But if you could subscribe, I would greatly appreciate that. Also, hit the notification bell button, because then you'll know when I'm putting up new videos, which I'm doing 4 a week at this point. But regardless, I really do thank you for taking your time to watch this particular video. Until next time, keep it brutal.